it's all there, but we're replacing the rotor. The calipers don't look to be leaking. Clean them, refinish them. Upgraded braking from factory, but we're not going to try and mess with this. We're going to put a brand new one on, just like we did on the back. Yikes. Now look at this thing. So the uprights, not only are they a little dingy, a little clean up, boots and ball joint is whooped. It's got extended studs in there too, which is probably good if you're drag racing and it requires that, or you're doing a different wheel. George had a set of uprights that I believe he got from Jeff, so it's kind of been passed down the line. This is our little cap that we built a long time ago, just in case you're wondering why there is a nut on it. We made these from a set of axles way back in the day when we did our all-wheel drive K-Sight. Alright, these are the replacement ones. Ball joint is perfect. They just need to be cleaned up and refinished, and we'll be ready to go. I mean, there's no way we're going to refinish that without losing half of our caliper. You can see there how much the caliper bracket was shaved compared to that one. So this is typical for somebody running smaller wheels, but we can't mess around with that. That one's going to look like crap. So let me get this one, start cleaning this up. I'm going to strip it down first, separate everything. I'll show you this when it's done. So on the back you can see the wheel is dirty, but how well the caliper shows through there. So black caliper would have disappeared like I was talking about. So this is the front bracket. I finished it the same way. Now the trick to this stuff is preparation. You want to strip it down, bead blast it, get it completely clean and dry, and strip it down these pins. When you're done refinishing it, you want to make sure these are all in good shape. Take them apart, clean them, re-grease them, use the Honda grease that they recommend on here. This is a float-in design, which if you know how this works, this bolts to the upright, to the hub, and then the caliper actually floats on these pins. So it's important to have these to be fully operating smoothly. You don't want them to hang up. That's when you'll often see one side of the pad will wear more than the other because those pins are frozen, but you see how much nicer they look. Same thing on the caliper. Make sure you strip it down, you take the bleeder out, you clean up all the threads, or actually block the threads before you refinish it. You don't want paint in there. And this is paint with ceramic. So I kind of glanced over it earlier. I forgot. I sometimes forget what I need to share with you and what isn't important. So this is a stainless flange. This is a flange that we're going to start using to build the headers. I actually ordered a few different materials and parts so I could look at them and decide what we're going to use. But this is the style that is mated to the gasket, and it comes out to the opening that we want for our tube, so the transition is nice. The old axles were pretty beat up, and to buy these boots, if you ever try and rebuild your own axles, by the time you buy the boots and the straps and the grease, you could have pretty much 70 bucks an axle. Well, these are part store axles. I believe the company is GSP. We've used them back in the day. Now, to be honest, it's kind of hit or miss. You've almost got to just order the axles and then play with it, feel what the joint is like. And you know, like these still have a nice smooth joint, same as this tripod. You want to make sure that it doesn't have any, basically any of the play rocking it back and forth, and make sure it's smooth. I've had pretty good luck with them. They're cheap. I think they're less than 100 bucks an axle. So I do want to address the elephant in the room, which is this pile of washers, because evidently people thought that that was the finished article, like this was done. John was happy with 30,000 washers that he had lying around. This was to kind of show you how this should be set up. I will obviously be cutting a piece of spacer to put in there, but this isn't finished. Like I've mentioned, there's no gasket, there's only one nut holding the manifold on. There is no S-tube, so this isn't finished. It is coming back apart, so it's not a finished article, but just wanted to kind of address that. Hopefully you kind of got the idea, but some of you didn't. The bracketry is done. I did order some of these pulleys that just haven't come in yet. These have 25,000 miles on them, and what happens is that groove is typically from running a lot of tension. It wears into that pulley. If it's all set up right, believe it or not, these pulleys actually last pretty well. But when you run these things like this one, when you run a ton of tension or somebody just doesn't know how to set the belt up, you will wear that pulley like that. But we do have a new pair coming. I'll show you those when they show up. Look how much better it looks, and it doesn't rub off. It's dye. It's kind of soaked into the material so it doesn't wipe off like paint. Real quick, the fasteners we're changing. You might have seen on past builds. This is something that we like to do. These are a stainless button head. I like these. I'm not a big fan of that aluminum washer with the different color and the inset. It's just not me. These are fairly inexpensive and they stay nice. It's basically a button head, 6mm, 15mm long, and then a stainless washer. You're going to see this in more places wherever we can replace it and put stainless. It just looks nicer and it lasts. It's not going to rust and tarnish. Honda used to offer the gold bolts, and then they changed to kind of like the silver. Now there is companies out there that offer the gold bolts. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you use. Again, if you have something you recommend, again, this is kind of like sharing what you use and what everybody else likes. We'll do the same when we put the headlights in, and you know, any brackets around here. It's going to be the same thing. I think it's just a very clean look. Now most of these threads, after you paint, you're going to have to chase it with a tap. That way all the bolts go in nice and easy. If it's a grounding bolt, obviously make sure it's super clean and you use the proper grounding bolt for that. So this is the engine harness. We did strip all the covering off here and branch it off where we need it. We're going to lay it on the motor and make sure everything lays out exactly how we want it. There's a couple of plugs that didn't look too good. We're going to replace those. We have a few spare plugs. I know the VSS, you might have seen early in the video where the Speedo worked and it quit work and then it worked again. The VSS plug was a little sketchy. Alright, so it's finally here. This is the stepper pulley for the alternator. As you see, it's got the two sizes. So the reason behind this, just to give you kind of a heads up, this is how the pulleys would be set. Obviously the offset would be correct, but the crank is driving this one, and then the larger one is driving the blower. The reason this one is larger, this has a higher gear. It's going to spin this one a little bit faster. The reason you go with a bigger pulley over a smaller pulley on the blower is traction. The smaller the pulley, the less contact you have on the belt, the more pressure you have on the belt, and the more problems you have. The blower pulley, see, it's got the unique machined and the coating on there. That's going to make our belt traction much better, more reliable. So we're going to go ahead and put this stuff together, start determining belt sizes. We'll put this on so you can see what it looks like. You saw it episode 4 every day. I think it's rained every day for about 3 weeks. I mean, the ground is saturated and it's just, I've washed my truck and so many times it just gets getting blathered. So yeah, another rainy day. Look at that. Or this is a stainless hub, so it's going to be nice and tight. Now this is the very first one. We do need to talk to Grip Tech. This was a little stiff going on there. There is a keyway in there, and I think it needs a little bit deeper key. We just had to spend some time adjusting that keyway. The diameter is good, but just the keyway. So the beauty of this is once the hub is installed, the pulley is removable by bolting this on. I mean, this is just a fantastic idea. We're going to sell you it with the right combination. That's the key here. We don't want to underspin the blower, we don't want to overspin it, and we want enough diameter on here so we don't get into massive belt tension like I talked about. These blowers are getting kind of old. I haven't even shown you this on camera, but this is a mint blower. I've had this sitting for a long time. It's been kind of on the back burner, knowing that this is going to be a project. So this is the sizing that we're going to get figured out to make sure we have this situated. This is the tensioner here. When you wind down on here, like this part is pretty thick. This needs to be machined down the backside here. It doesn't interfere, but it's darn close. Again, this is part of the R&D. As you hear, there's a storm outside. I mean, it doesn't contact, but it's so close. We're going to run into issues. Obviously, it has to be tension. The tensioner is all the way loose, but by cutting the belt down and doing this, then we can remove this belt and measure it. This is how we're going to come up with a pretty close idea. This doesn't get you exact, just gets you kind of close. So what do we got there? 25 and 3/8.
25.38 inches is 644.52 millimeters.
It's 3:15. We're kind of taking one of the afternoon little breaks. It's hot. We're not working on the hatch. We're actually working on this car. We used to post a lot of these, but we didn't get a lot of views, so we kind of took a break. So we're still enjoying this. So thank you so much, Willie, for sending us the gift card. There is a meet coming up next month. You know anything about it?
I saw something on Instagram from some Honda Classic page or something.
Yeah, you want to go?
Yeah, I think I'm going to shoot up there.
He's going to be there. Come and meet us. We're going to be at Fontana Dam, October 17th, 11 a.m.
Yeah.
You can meet George, meet myself. A couple other people are going to be there. From what it looks like, there's going to be over 100 people there. A lot of classic Hondas, but it's not just a Honda meet. Bring whatever you drive. It's about get together. Yeah.
Because I've got people that messaging me on my Instagram saying, oh, I'm going to be there, like people that follow me.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah.
We want to meet you. We want to meet Honda guys. That's why we do this. So, see if you make it. Fontana Dam, October 17th. I want to do that really cool thing where I do this and the text comes up. Hopefully the guy that does the computer work can put that in there.
I don't know, he kind of slacking.
I don't know, he's not that good. He just sometimes message. If you still want to see this stuff, if you still like the S2000 stuff, it's still one of our primary builds. So some of the crap going on behind the scenes. This is a Dell computer and it's supposed to be a pretty powerful machine. It's got 32 gigs of RAM. It was supposed to be for our 4K editing, which I still can't do because every time I run 4K on this, it crashes. Well, I've used it less than a year. I bought it brand new from Dell. It's loaded up. It's got 2 drives, I believe. It's got a Fusion drive or a solid state drive and a traditional hard drive. You computer guys are looking at this and probably know exactly what's going on. Well, in less than a year of use, the motherboard took a crap. I took it to the iFix, you repair, I repair, you fix, whatever it's called. They looked at it and said it's the motherboard, probably not worth fixing. It cost me almost $2 grand. It's been in use less than a year. It's just out of warranty. So that makes me semi-aggravated with this machine. I did order a new motherboard from Dell. I basically looked at this number and got the exact same board, looked at the plugs, everything looks to be the same. Hopefully I can plug it in and get the stupid thing up and running. If not, I'm going to drive over this with my truck. I'm going to smash this thing in the parking lot. And then I got to talk to one of my computer buddies again and say, what do I do? This is the 4th Dell machine I've bought and it seems like these things are crap now. I don't understand the Apple software, but my buddy that runs a CNC shop, he's got 30 plus CNC machines all running on Apple. And he said, there's a manufacturer date. We didn't use it for the first year because the pandemic hit. We didn't have anything we didn't have the time to set up the store. Anyway, he said since he changed all his machines over to the iMacs, not a single production issue, nothing's crashed, no issues. Tell me what you would use. I don't want computer issues. I just want to turn it on and use it and build cars. I don't like the business end of this. I wish I had a production manager, a business manager. You could do all this. I just want to build cars. That's what I want to do. I don't want to work on this crap. I want to edit videos, show you what I'm doing, build cars, have fun, enjoy my life, and not work on stupid PCs. Now I'm going to be working on this tonight on my kitchen table. Dell said that the motherboard will be here today, so fingers crossed. If not, there'll be a video of an office space reenactment with this stupid thing. Time to put the motor in. So what we're going to do, because we have the whole suspension taken apart, we can't roll it over to the lift, so we're going to do it the old school way. We're going to put a hoist. As you see, we're going to pull up on the lower cross member. Don't lift on this. The reason we're going through here is it's a direct shot down to here. Obviously this will support the weight of the car. Typically people jack on there, so we're going to lift the front of the car up, slide that engine underneath and lower the car on top. It's the easier way to do it. You can put it in from the top, you got to put it in on an angle and do this, but we don't want to scratch the paint. So this is a much easier way. I'll give you a quick time lapse of how we do it. So there you go, that's how to put a B motor in without the lift. Jacking up on here like I talked about. Motor is in. And one thing is so strange when you see these motors in these cars. I remember seeing this when I first did swaps. The motor always looks really high. You first put them in and you go, there is no way the hood is going to close. It's like really weird looking. But it's so open, this is almost cheating. Back in the day doing CRXs, everything was so tight, everything was custom. This stuff is so easy. It's like building Lego in your backyard.
So the radius rods too, doing the CRX.
Yeah, the radius arms, that makes everything tough. But always in here was tough. And obviously the cross member in the back. I mean, these have tons and tons of room. Look at that, there's room for days back there. So it's easy. Again, easy compared. I'm not gonna make light of it because I know someone's in their backyard with 2 or 3 buddies helping and everyone's cussing at each other because it won't go in. But these are new. Remember the mounts I talked about for here. This is when everything is relaxed. What we're gonna do is jack up the motor where it's nice and even, then tighten all the mounts so they're tight evenly, and then we're gonna put the lower torque mounts on. I talked about that, I think, in episode 3, but we want those neutral, especially because they're aftermarket, a little bit heavier. But motor's in. We're making progress now. So it looks like we have the wrong brake pads. I just took the hardware out because it didn't want to fit, but now I look at it, the pad is still way bigger. Look at that. So I ordered them through our Honda dealership, but they're Acura pads because we have an account with Honda. So I think they sent the wrong one. I have to double check that part number. So that's as far as we can get with the brakes, but you can see it does look pretty nice. It has braided stainless lines on it. They're in good shape. They're kind of like a purple. I should show those to my daughter. She'll approve of that. Favorite color of hers. But it looks good. This is all tight. Control arms on, suspension. This came preset from Team, by the way. I don't know if you've had any luck with this stuff. Few people have commented and said that they're buying Team, and I'm not promoting it by any means, but I did have good luck with it back in the day. I really did. This is obviously their slightly more budget line, and it came pre-adjusted. All these adjusters are tight, so fingers crossed that they are pretty close. This zip tie, by the way, somebody's wondering what I was going to show you that. There's a hole here, and what I did is I ran a zip tie through the hole, around the wire and back, and then zip tied it to itself, so the buckle is essentially the stop. I left that long intentionally so I could show you. This headlight harness, rather than wrapping it around here, which I didn't really want it there, there is a hole there. I used one of the factory, basically the little pops right there. It's got the zip tie with the plug on the end. Fit perfect. But right over here, another good place, it's behind the brake line, but that's where the line goes through and wraps around. It's a buckle on the outside. Kind of cleans that up. I wanted this to be kind of clean. The valve cover is getting changed. Somebody's going to point it out. Hey dude, your valve cover looks like crap. That's getting painted. It's just sitting there loose right now. It's not finished. It's not bolted down, which means it's not finished, just to let you know before somebody points that out. Engine's bolted in. That mount I can't fully tighten because if you ever dealt with B-Series, the AC belt wraps around that mount right there. Can you see that? And even though I've used to work on millions of these, I haven't worked on one in a while, but I remembered if you tighten all that up, you can't replace the belt. I've got to put the AC compressor on here in a minute. I do have an AC condenser to change. This is still like a big pile of crap right here that's come off this. There's the AC condenser, and it's in really rough shape. I do have a new condenser. The lines have to be stripped and cleaned, and of course a new dryer. This is it right here. I want to go get the condenser. I'll order a new dryer, then all these lines we're going to have to clean and make nice. This fan might clean up. We'll give this a scrub. If not, this will have to be refinished. Radiator that came out of it is good. I won't be running that FAL fan. We'll be running a SPAL, which is a much better fan, and we'll start putting that back together. Alright, so the tie rod is whooped. The in one is good, but this thing is floppy. So we're going to replace those. I got our new OEM ones right here. So the trick to this is going to need alignment anyway, but just so you don't have to go and change it before you even back it out the driveway, if you can see here, there is a lock-in nut. Let me get my flashlight. So this is the lock-in nut right here. So the trick is you're gonna break that nut loose and then leave it in as close to the position as you can, and unscrew this and then screw the new one up to that nut, and it should be pretty close because it is an OEM one that we're replacing it with. So it's the new ball joint and it has the new boot. So everything you can do to tighten up your suspension, anything that has looseness to it, it's kind of like everything has a little bit of play. It adds up until the whole car feels like it's falling apart, which this kind of did. So replacing all these ball joints and this kind of thing is going to make a huge difference. It's going to drive like a new car. It's kind of exciting. More boxes showing up every day. So can anybody guess what this little box is yet? What the heck is that? Oh, I know what that is.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. And here is shift. Look at that, cute little sandwich bag.
Did you order lunch?
Yeah, your sandwich was packed by this guy, Alex.
Yeah, Alex, number 142, made this sandwich.
Yes, nice.
So.
That should be my cheese and pepperoni and pickled onions on the side.
What? Is it a pulley?
It should be.
Oh.
Is that the same size? Okay, so that's what this is. I wasn't surprised what it was. This is the one that came yesterday. So we have the two supercharger pulleys.
Little idler and big idler.
See that right there, a 2.5 and a 2. Somebody was commenting, hey, your pulleys have seen better days. Yeah, so these are the new ones.
So you know what? These haven't seen any days.
These haven't seen anything. These I might not even hook them up.
No, I would leave them.
Being a Corvette guy, I might just put these under the bed and order another set.
Those may have seen better days, but they haven't seen their best days yet.
That's right. So that is what's going on here. George is stripping that down and changing widgets. Here is the new condenser. This condenser looks a little rough. We're changing the dryer. That should be here any minute now. So what I'm going to do is take this apart, swap everything over here, leave this how it's set up. I'm going to clean these lines. This is probably from the factory, by the way, if it's not painted yellow. This bracket, you're going to see it's exposed, so we're going to clean that bracket up. The new dryer will be there. This is kind of like a filter, so anytime you mess with the AC, replace this. But everything should be a direct bolt-on to this one right here. So you've got the nice foam. So things are coming together. Pulleys are here, condensers here. I don't even know what George is doing. It's a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know. That's a spoon. Fan switch right there. That should be about a 20 something.
Yeah.
Is it a 24?
I don't think so.
I don't know. Spoon. You want to see something else? Spoon real quick? Spoon. Spoon. So I just realized if I don't get this edited, you're not going to see this content. I'm trying to put content up every Friday if you haven't realized. So fan's coming apart. Next thing is just clean this fan up, put it on the new condenser, new dryer. Already talked about that. And we're going to keep rolling on this. So thanks for watching. If you like what you see, don't forget, hit the subscribe. You'll see more. Click the bell. You get notified when we put a video up and then you can watch it. But I try and keep them at the same time so you can have something to do on a Friday night rather than hanging out with your family. See you in the next video. So look what just showed up. The motherboard. So that's going to be my job late tonight on the kitchen table.